Good morning, children. How are you? I hope that you all are very happy. You all are very enthusiastic to see your school once again. And after such long time, you have seen your school once again. And I hope that you feel very happy. You are feeling very happy. You are feeling very, very enthusiastic and full of hopes and desires. Okay, children. I hope that, and I also hope that you are feeling very happy, very healthy, and always, children, and always think positive, children, and always be happy in your life, and always think positive. Okay, children. So, children, as you know that we have completed. In our previous lecture, we have completed the second chapter from the prose section, that is, we are not afraid to die if we can be all together. And we have completed its summary and its explanation, and I will send the PDF question and answer to you through PDF. So children, in today's lecture we are going to start our new chapter from the prose section, that is the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues, and it is written by It is written by A.R. Williams, and in today's lecture I am going to tell you about the introduction of the poem, a small introduction of the poem, and also I am going to tell you about the summary of the chapter, and then I will tell you about then I will explain the paragraphs one by one, and I will show in today's lecture, in today's video, I'm going to show you the paragraphs in the video as usual. As usual I am showing, but in this paragraph, in this video I am going to show you the paragraphs, and then I will explain the paragraph one by one. You read the paragraph on your own, and I will interpret and I will give the interpretation of the paragraphs. Okay, children? So with a small introduction and summary, let's start the explanation of the chapter, that is called Discovering Tut The Saga Continues. The saga continues. Now children, before starting the summary explanation of the paragraph, and let's have some brief introduction of the author, that is the A.R. Williams. A.R. Williams lives in Virginia, and he developed a love for reading, and he loved reading, he loved writing, and he loved adventurous stories and tales, and also he used to write his own works of fiction because he loved fictional works in literature, and he used to write his own fictional works in literature, and also he not only creates or writes novels on fiction, but also he always enjoys his novels by reading and also by observing the adventurous fact present in the novels or in the stories or the tales. And also the heroes of his story, the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues, he, along with his neighbor, he started writing, he started making adventurous journey through this story of adventurous journey through this story, along with his neighbors and his friends. And also A.R. Williams is one of the, you can say, one of the many self-published author. He was self-published author, and also he used to publish his book on his own, and that is why he is called published author. So A.R. Williams, you can say in a very short, in a one sentence, you can say that A.R. William is adventurous, loving writer, and he is passionate about writing fictional works in English literature. So children, this is the short brief life sketch of A.R. Williams, who is the author of the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues, the third chapter from your prose section. So let's start the explanation of the chapter. Good morning, children, and welcome back in your English class, and I hope that you all are fit and fine, feeling happy and healthy. Children, as you know that we have finished the second chapter from your prose section in last lecture. We are not afraid to die if we all can be all together. But in today's lecture, we are going to start our new chapter, that is the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues. This is your third chapter from the prose section. And this chapter is written by A.R. Williams. So the chapter is penned by A.R. Williams. So children, before starting the explanation of the paragraphs of this chapter, let's start the chapter with its small introduction. So, as you know that this chapter is written by A.R. Williams, and this chapter is about the last heir of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty, Tutankhamun, whose name was Tutankhamun, and who died when he was teenager after ruling for 9 years. He died in a mysterious way, and this chapter throws light over all the possible mysteries, the curse, where his tomb lies, his life, and ultimately death. Egyptians, children, the Egyptian believed that there is a life after death, and that is the reason why the pharaohs were buried with all wealth and everyday use items. And early in the Egyptian believed that there is a life after death. There is a life after death, so they buried all the necessary, all the essential thing along with the body of the person who died. And same thing has happened to this Tutankhamun also. Tutankhamun, who died when he was very young, and he ruled for 9 years, but he died in a mysterious way. And in this chapter, the fact is shown about his death. So children, let's start. After the introduction of the lesson, let's start the summary. So first, let's start the summary of the chapter, that is the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues. Now children, as you know that this chapter is written by A.R. Williams, and the Saga Continues is a lesson which gives us an in-depth insight of Tutankhamun, the last ruler of the powerful Pharaoh dynasty in Egypt. He was a teenager when he died, and his death was a mystery. Some speculated that he was murdered, and some believed that he was murdered, and he ruled in Egypt and its empire for centuries. In 1922, his tomb was discovered by Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, and after 8 years, he was taken from his resting place for what? For CT scan, which offers to solve the mystery of his life and death by creating a forensic reconstruction. मीन्स कहने का मतलब ये है कि ये चैप्टर जो है वो कह सकते हैं कि एक शक्तिशाली बहुत परिवार जिसने सदियों तक मिस्र पर शासन किया, उसका अंतिम उत्तराधिकारी राजा टाटुट अपनी बहुत यंग एज में जो है उसकी डेथ हो चुकी थी। ये चैप्टर उसके बारे में है, और उसके मकबरे को 1922 में हार्वर्ड कार्टर ने खोज निकाला, और उसके बाद उसके जीवन के बारे में और उसके मृत्यु की रीजंस के बारे में वो जानना चाहता था हार्वर्ड कार्टर। दैट इज वाई उसने जो है उसकी मिस्ट्री को सॉल्व करने के लिए उसके टूम को जो है वो बाहर निकाल, उसके बॉडी को बाहर निकाला गया, और फिर सिटी स्कैन, उसकी जीवन और मृत्यु के बारे में नए नए जो है वो सिंबल्स उसने प्रेजेंट किए। और फिर उसके बाद जो आर्कियोलॉजिकल डिपार्टमेंट था उसने क्या किया कि इस विज्ञान के उपयोग ने इसे बिल्कुल पॉसिबल बना दिया कि किस तरीके से उसकी डेथ हुई थी, और he solved the mystery of his death. Now Tut's father of grandfather, that is the Amenhotep III, was a very powerful pharaoh who ruled over a period of 40 years. And his son Amenhotep IV thrived him and began the strangest period in the history of Egypt. He promoted the worship of Aten, that is the sun disk, and he changed his name to Akhenaten, meaning servant of Athens. He also moved the religious capital from Thebes to the new city of Akhenaten called Amarna. Further, he attacked Amun, a god, smashed his image and closed his temples. Now another mysterious ruler succeeded him, who died soon. Next, Tutankhamun, also known as Tut, sat on the throne and ruled for 9 years. And he worshipped God Amun in old ways. So children, when Tut sat on the throne and he ruled for 9 years, he worshipped God Amun in olden days. However, he died mysteriously. But when Tut's mummified body was discovered, he was laid with lots of gold, wealth, and everyday items like a bronze, razor, games, clothes, cases of food and wine. As I told you, na, कि when the Egyptian believed that what Egyptian believed. As I told you, the Egyptian believed that there is life after death. So everything, the daily use items, they used to bury it along with the body. So same thing has happened to the Tutankhamun also, whose mummified body was discovered, and he was laid with lots of gold, wealth, and everyday items like bronze, razor, games, clothes, cases of food and wine. And the Howard Carter, who was a British archaeologist, he discovered him after searching for many years. And after researching on the treasures, he decided to investigate his 3 nested coffins. Some part of the Tut's treasures in the tomb were already looted. Then what happened? The next, his tomb was rock cut 26 feet underground, which had wall paintings. On the outer coffin, Tut's face was gilded. And in the first coffin, he found the garlands of olives, lotus, petals, and corn flowers. Now it showed what it showed. It showed that he was buried in the months of March or April. Through the garlands of olives, lotus, petals, and cornflowers, the archaeologist, the Carter, came to know that he was buried in the months of March or April. Now, the third and the final coffin put Carter into trouble. How? The resins used to cement Tuts to the bottom of the solid gold coffin was hardened enough, making it impossible to move. Now he put the coffin in the sun for several hours in hope for the resins to loosen up, and it did not work. Finally, what happened? He removed the resins with the help of chisel and hammer. यानी उसने हथौड़े और जो हसुए और हथौड़े से उसने क्या किया, उसने resins को हटाया. Then what happened? Carter felt that he did not have any other choice as to if he had not cut the mummy from limb to limb. यानी उस जो मम्मी थी वो पूरी तरीके से जो है वो कॉफिन में चिपक गई थी, और उसको निकाल पाना कॉफिन से बहुत ही मुश्किल हो रहा था कार्टर के लिए. इसलिए उसने एट लास्ट फाइनली ये डिसाइड किया कि उसको कॉफिन से निकालने का सबसे बेस्ट तरीका ये होगा कि उसको लिम्ब टू लिम्ब, यानी उसको मम्मीज को तोड़ कर उसे टुकड़ों में जो है वो निकालना पड़ेगा, तभी वो जो है उसको वो सही तरीके से वो उसको स्टडी और रिसर्च कर पाएगा. Then what happened? Thieves would have looted the gold. और ये भी हो सकता है कि उस समय चोर जो थीव्स थे वो जितने गोल्ड और सिल्वर और वेल्थ उसके साथ जो बरीड किए गए थे, हो सकता है मे भी उसके साथ जितने भी गोल्ड और सिल्वर और वेल्थ था, ट्रेजर्स था, बहुत सारे थीव्स जो थे वो चुरा ले गए हो या लूटेड, ऑलरेडी लूटेड. But what happened then? What Carter did? His men first removed his head. पहले उसने हेड को रिमूव किया बॉडी से. Then they cut off every joint. फिर उसने हर एक जॉइंट को उसने कट किया. यानी कार्टर ने जो है वो हर एक जॉइंट को उसने बॉडी के हर एक जॉइंट को कट करके बॉडी पार्ट्स को अलग अलग किया. Then after removing the body parts, what happened? They placed it on the layer of sand in a wooden box and put it at the original place. Now what happened, children? Now what Carter did? Now here the Carter जो टाटुन खामुन की जो ममीफाइड बॉडी थी, जब उसको खोजा गया तो वो बहुत सारे उसके ही वॉज लेड विद द गोल्ड वेल्थ एंड एवरीडे आइटम्स जैसे ब्रॉन्ज, रेजर, गेम्स, क्लोथ्स, केसेस ऑफ फूड, ये सब चीज़ें जो डेली यूज़ के आइटम्स थे जो टाटुन खामुन यूज़ किए करता था, उसके साथ उसको बरिड किया गया था. एंड द कार्टर डिस्कवर्ड, कार्टर को क्या उसने खोजा कि आफ्टर सर्चिंग फॉर मेनी ईयर्स, उसने बहुत सालों से जो है उसकी बॉडी को वो खोज रहा था, उस ममीफाइड मम्मी को खोज रहा था, ताकि वो ये मिस्ट्री, उसकी डेथ की मिस्ट्री को वो सॉल्व कर सके कि उसकी डेथ एक मिस्टीरियस वे में हुई थी. हाउ ही डाइड, कैसे वो उसकी डेथ हुई. इसलिए वो इस चीज़ को, इस रियलिटी को, इस फैक्ट को वो दुनिया के सामने लाना चाहता था. दैट इज़ वाई आफ्टर सर्चिंग फॉर मेनी ईयर्स ही डिस्कवर्ड हिम एंड देन आफ्टर रिसर्चिंग ऑन द ट्रेजर्स ही डिसाइडेड टू इन्वेस्टिगेट हिज 3 नेस्टेड कॉफिन्स. उन्हें 3 नेस्टेड कॉफिन्स थी, उसको उसने डिस्कवर्ड किया और कहा कि मैं इसके कॉफिन से उसकी बॉडी को पहले निकालूंगा, देन आफ्टरवर्ड्स वो उसको उस पर रिसर्च करेगा. सबसे पहला काम था उसका कि कॉफिन से उसकी बॉडी को निकालना. तो उसके टूम को पहले काटा गया 26 फीट अंडरग्राउंड था. फिर उसके बाद आउटर कॉफिन टट फेस वॉज ग्लाइडेड, वो चिपक गया था बिल्कुल उसके फर्स्ट कॉफिन में था. ही पहले कॉफिन में 3 लेयर की कॉफिन बनी थी. पहले कॉफिन में उसका फेस था, फर्स्ट कॉफिन में गार्लैंड, वॉइल्स, लोटस ऑफ पर्ल्स, फ्लावर्स थे. तो इस तरह की चीजें हुई. एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंड, देन द लास्ट में आके जो है वो कार्टर फाउंड वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कट द कॉफिन, टू टेक आउट द ममी फ्रॉम द कॉफिन. देन ही डिसाइडेड टू कट द बॉडी पार्ट्स ऑफ द टाटुन खामुन सो दैट ही कुड एबल टू do research on the body and also he could able to know the mystery of the mystery of his death. देन तभी वो सिटी स्कैन के लिए उसके बॉडी जो है वो जाएगी और तब जाके वो इस तरह की जो इस साइंटिफिक प्रोसेस से जो उसकी बॉडी को जो रखा जाएगा और फिर इवेल्युएट किया जाएगा उसकी डेथ मिस्ट्री को. Then what happened? What happened? He removed the recess with the help of chisel and hammer. Then Carter felt that he did not have any other choice as to if he had not cut the mummy from limb to limb. At last finals वही करता है कि उसे body to body parts को उसको जो है वो निकाला जाए, तोड़ा जाए, तभी जाके जो है वो पूरी मम्मी जो है वो कॉफिन से बाहर आएगी. And then after removing the body parts, what they did? Then what happened? His men first removed his head, then they cut off every joint of the body, and then after removing the body parts, they placed it on the layer of sand in a wooden box and put it at the original place. Now you can see the children कि now you can easily see कि किस तरीके से जो है वो टट की जो मिस्ट्री थी जो डेथ की, क्योंकि उसके डेथ के लिए एक मिथ था ना कि जो मे बी ही वॉज मर्डर्ड. सो इन ऑर्डर टू सॉल्व द मिस्ट्री ऑफ हिज डेथ एंड इन ऑर्डर टू नो द फैक्ट्स अबाउट हिज लाइफ एंड मिस्ट्री ऑफ हिज डेथ, द कार्टर वॉन्टेड टू टेक आउट द ममी फ्रॉम द कॉफिन. So children, तो इसीलिए Carter took out the body. Now children, after a lot of efforts by Howard Carter, in 1968 the mummy was x-rayed by an anatomy professor, and he revealed few facts about the mummified body of Tatun Khaman, that his breastbone and front ribs were missing. Then what happened? मतलब कहने का 1969 में जब एक एटोनॉमी प्रोफेसर ने मम्मी का एक्सरे किया तो वो चौंकाने वाले कुछ फैक्ट सामने आए. उनको क्या फैक्ट से, जो सामने वाली जो हड्डपसलियाँ थी चेस्ट की वो क्या थी, गायब हो चुकी थी. लेकिन अभी भी टू बिग क्वेश्चंस were still वेर स्टिल अनसॉल्व। 2 क्वेश्चन ऐसे थे जो अभी भी अनसॉल्व थे। पहला क्वेश्चन ये था कि टाटुन खामन की डेथ कैसे हुई, और दूसरा था कि डेथ के समय जो है टाटुन खामन की उम्र क्या थी, कि व्हेन टाटुन खामन डाइड, एंड सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट वाज द एज व्हेन ही डाइड। अब तो और टाटुन टट का जो राजवंश था, जो टट का एम्पायर था, उसका जो था वो किस तरीके से एंड हुआ। नाउ अब what happened then later on January 5, 2009, Tut was taken for CT यानी computed tomography। CT का आपका फुल फॉर्म है computed tomography scan, which takes hundreds of X-rays and creates a 3-dimensional image. And the night of the scan, the workmen carried his body from the tomb in a box, and they climbed ramp and stairs and lifted it on a hydraulic trailer that held the scanner. And what happened then, children? The scanner stopped working, which paused the procedure. After using a pair of spare fans, the scan was finally done. Then after that, after 3 hours, his body was taken back to his tomb, where his body is resting in peace still. Now what happened, children? क्या हुआ था कि 5 जनवरी 2009 में जो टुट का जो मम्मी था वो सिटी स्कैन उसका किया गया। फिर उसके बाद जो है उसका फॉरेंसिक और जो बॉडी स्ट्रक्चर, जो बॉडी पढ़ने वाले या शरीर रचना जो विज्ञान होते हैं, उनके एक्सपर्ट के एक दल ने उस फैक्ट्स की खोजबीन शुरू की, मिस्टीरियस फैक्ट्स की खोजबीन शुरू की, और उसके जीवन, उसकी ज़िंदगी और मौत के जो फैक्ट्स जो थे, जो उसके लाइफ के ऊपर डिपेंड थे, जो उसकी मौत से जुड़े हुए थे, उसकी उन्होंने खोज शुरू कर दी। फिर जो टुट की जो कब्र थी, उस कब्र को सोने से जो है वो बिल्कुल अच्छे ढंग से, बिल्कुल लग्जरियस वे से उसको सजाया गया था, बहुत खूबसूरत ढंग से उसको बहुत ब्यूटीफाई किया गया था। फिर उसको डेली जीवन यानी दैनिक जीवन में जो काम आने वाली चीज़ें थी उसके साथ भी उसको दफनाया गया था। तो जिनको वह फिर दफनाया गया था, क्यों दफनाया गया था? जिनको मृत्यु के बाद वो अपने जीवन में, ताकि वो अपने जो इजिप्शियन जो बिलीव करते हैं कि लाइफ आफ्टर डेथ, ताकि वो लाइफ आफ्टर डेथ यानी डेथ आफ्टर लाइफ यानी मृत्यु के बाद अगर जो जीवन होता है उसमें उन सब चीज़ों के साथ वो उस लाइफ में वो जा सके। फिर उसके बाद सीटी स्कैन जब पूरा हो गया तो टुट की मम्मी को वापस जो है उसी कब्र में लिटा दिया गया या उसे ले गया गया, जहाँ वो आज भी बहुत शांति से या बहुत ही जो है वो पीसफुली जो है वो सो रहा है। सो इन दिस वे चिल्ड्रन, व्हाट हैपेंड इन दिस वे, the body of the Tut was taken back to his tomb, and where his body is resting in peace. So children, what do we so children, you just imagine, now you just guess, आप गैस कर सकते, यू कैन गैस, यू कैन इमेजिन कि कितना मतलब ये रिस्की काम था, कितना मतलब ये एडवेंचरस जो ऑब्जर्वेशन था और एडवेंचरस सर्च था बाय द हार्वर्ड कार्टर के दिमाग में एक बहुत बड़ा चीज़ आई कि क्यों ना हम इस कैसी खोज करें और टाटुन खामन की लाइफ से जुड़ी जो मिस्टीरियस थिंग्स थी, जो डेथ से जुड़ी जो मिस्टीरियस फैक्ट्स थे, जो मिस्ट्री थी, वो जो अभी अनसॉल्व थी उसको उन्होंने सॉल्व करने की कोशिश की। ही ट्राई टू सॉल्व द मिस्ट्री, व्हाट मिस्ट्री ऑफ डेथ, मिस्ट्री ऑफ लाइफ एज वेल एज डेथ of Tatun Khamun, the teenager ruler, the young ruler of the Egyptian empire. So children, this is the summary of the chapter. Now children, let's start the explanation of the paragraphs of this chapter. So children, let's start the explanation of the paragraphs. You just read the paragraph on your own, and I will explain the paragraph. Okay children, so I will tell the interpretation of the paragraphs one by one. You can see the difficult words given in the paragraph, and you can also see the meaning of those difficult words just below the paragraph. Okay, I have highlighted those words, you can see easily. Okay, the first word is here means successor. The second word is laden, that is loaded यानी भरा हुआ. Speculated means form a theory without evidence, यानी कोई भी theory develop करना without any सबूत या without any evidence. And tomb, you know that कि मकबरा जिसे कहते हैं, enclosure to bury the dead. And forensic reconstruction means the process of recreating the face of individual, यानी किसी भी person का दोबारा face बनाना, that is called forensic reconstruction. And Pharaoh is called a ruler in ancient Egypt. Now children, in the very first paragraph, the author talks here, describes about the Tutankhamun, the young ruler of the Egyptian empire. And Tutankhamun was also known as Tut. And he was a teenager when he died, and he was the last successor of his powerful Pharaoh dynasty, which ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. Now here what author is saying कि Tutankhamun जो कि टट के नाम से भी जाना जाता था, he was very young when he was died. वो जब उसकी डेथ हुई तो वो बहुत ही young था, and he was the last successor of his powerful Pharaoh dynasty which ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries, and for at approx 9 years तक उसने जो है वो रूल किया था इजिप्ट एम्पायर पे. एंड when he died he was laid on rest heavily loaded with gold. वो पूरी सोने चांदी के साथ जो है वो he was buried with all the wealth and daily used items. Then his tomb was discovered in 1922 by the Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, and that discovery made the world raise a question. What question? About what happened to him and whether he had been murdered. And children, after almost 80 years, such after a long period of about 80 years, his body was about to undergo a CT scan. You know CT scan? Computer tomography, the full form of CT is computer tomography. So CT scan, the body undergo a CT scan which would give new information and clues about his life and death. And what happened then? His face would be recreated by what? By the method of forensic reconstruction, that is known as recreated forensic. You can see the meaning of the forensic reconstruction, the process of recreating the face of an individual. So his face would be recreated with the help of procedure called forensic reconstruction. Now after getting the body, after almost 80 years, his body was about to undergo a CT scan, and after that what happened, children? After CT scan, and that CT scan definitely would give new information, clues about the mystery on his life, about the mystery related to his death, and also and to get the information, to solve the mystery of his life and death, his face would be recreated with the help of procedure called forensic reconstruction. So children, this is the process of. So children, after the procedure called forensic reconstruction, his face would be recreated, and after that what happened? And in the second paragraph, see the second paragraph, difficult words are given and also the meanings are given below the paragraph. The first word is stirred. Stirred means to move or cause to move slightly. Ghostly, you know that, alien, unnatural, unreal. Resting place, the grave, here the resting place refers as grave, यानी जो कब्र होती है, मकबरा. And cemetery is a large burial ground, जहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कब्रिस्तान जिसे हिंदी में कहते हैं. और dark bellied means here dark in color. Now scudded across, moving quickly, welling to cover something, and casket, you know, ornamental box, any small box, decorated ornamental box. And glided means quiet. Probe means to investigate या to find out. Lingering means long lasting, यानी बहुत देर तक चलने वाला कोई task, that is called lingering, long lasting. Now children, in this second paragraph, what author is saying that a fast, strange and unnatural wind was blowing as King Tut's body was taken from his grave, called वैलीज ऑफ द किंग्स. यानी जब टट की बॉडी जो है वो ग्रेव से, जब उनके कब्र से निकाली जा रही थी, तो उस समय बिल्कुल अननेचुरल थिंग्स जो है वो हैपन हो रहा था इन्वायरमेंट पे. ये कह रही, इट इज़ बिलीव्ड कि जब आफ्टर 80 ईयर्स 1922 में जब उनकी बॉडी निकाली जा रही थी, तो उनके जो मकबरे से, कब्रिस्तान से जब बॉडी निकाली जा रही थी, तो बहुत ही अननेचुरल थिंग हैपन होता, बहुत तेज़ हवाएं हो रही थी, बादल बहुत गरज रहे थे, बिल्कुल तूफान और आंधी जैसा बिल्कुल इन्वायरमेंट हो गया था. और दैट grave called valleys of the kings. एन एंशिएंट इजिप्शियन सिमेंट्री, एक जो पुरानी जो इजिप्शियन कब्रिस्तान थी, सिमेंट्री थी, उसको नाम दिया गया था वैलीज ऑफ द किंग्स, जहाँ पे इजिप्शियन एम्परर्स या इजिप्शियन किंग्स जो है वो बरिड थे. दैट इज वाई दैट प्लेस was called valleys of the kings. Now the location of the valley of the king is given in the image you can see in the book also. Now here dark clouds move quickly across the desert all day long and later. यानी जब कब्र से उनकी निकाली जा रही थी बॉडी, तो dark clouds move quickly, very fast and huge dark clouds moved quickly, very fast across the desert all day long and later. मतलब पूरे आसमान में डार्क क्लाउड जो है वो बहुत तेजी से इधर उधर स्कैटर्ड हो रहे थे, हिल रहे थे, इधर उधर से ट्रांसफर हो रहे थे, तैर रहे थे, चल रहे थे. एंड दे कवर्ड द स्टार्स, और इतना घना बादल हो गया था कि वो उन्होंने पूरे स्टार्स को ढक लिया था. यानी इट मीन्स दैट एनवायरमेंट बिकेम हॉरिबल, द एनवायरमेंट बिकेम terrible, the environment looks ghostly like environment created. Now what happened then, children? On January 5, 2005 at 6 p.m. King Tut's mummy, which is the world's most famous mummy, was placed in the city scanner to investigate the mystery behind his death, which had occurred more than 300 years ago. You can see now, children, what happened when the body of the Tutankhamun was taking out. What happened at that time? At that time, children, you can at that time dark clouds moved quickly across the desert all the long, and later they covered the stars. यानी बहुत ज़्यादा जो है वो क्लाउड्स जो है इधर उधर जो है वो तैर रहे थे, और फिर बहुत एक हॉरिबल एनवायरनमेंट जो है वो क्रिएट हो चुका था. Now what happened? Now, and what happened on January 5, 2005, January 2005 at 6 p.m. King Tut's mummy, which is the world's most famous mummy, was placed in CT scanner, and to investigate what? The mystery behind his death, which had occurred more than 33 years ago. यानी जब उनके जो मिसके वैली ऑफ द किंग्स, राजाओं की घाटी कही जाती थी, जब वहाँ से ले आया गया, तो वहाँ बहुत ही हवा, बहुत एक घोंसली इन्वायरमेंट क्रिएट हो रहा था. दिन भर जो है वो सब आसमान काले घने बादलों से आना जाना हो रहा था. वो तारों को इस तरह छिपा रहे थे जैसे किसी बहुत पुरानी जो है वो रत्न पेटी या बहुत पुरानी जो है वो सोन या फिर जेम्स की पेटी को आभूषण छिपे रहते हैं. और 5 जनवरी को 2005 में शाम को 6 बजे थे जब ये सब चीज़ें हो रही थी. और वर्ल्ड की सबसे फेमस मम्मी जिसकी पहली बार सीटी स्कैनर में इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया गया, और वो थे इजिप्शियन किंग, दैट इज़ द टूटनखामन, जिसकी मृत्यु, जिसकी डेथ जो है वो 33 ईयर्स से अधिक से ज़्यादा पहले जो है हो चुकी थी, और जिसके बारे में काफ़ी कम जो है इंफॉर्मेशन जो है या जानकारी हमें मिली थी या मिली है. और उसके फिर इस तरह से लॉन्ग लास्टिंग ये जो चले आ रहे जो ये मिस्टीरियस थिंग्स थी जो थी ये मिस्ट्री जो थी, वो उसके लिए उसकी इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए जो है उसकी मम्मी को यहाँ पर सीटी स्कैन के लिए लाया गया था. सो चिल्ड्रन, व्हाट हैपेंड, what the author is saying in this paragraph, that on January 2005 at 6 p.m. King Tut's mummy, why the King Tut's mummy was placed in the CT scanner, for what? The mummy was taken out from the ancient Egyptian cemetery that is called Valleys of the King, for what? The reason is that to solve the mystery on his death, to solve the mystery related to his death, and to investigate the mystery behind his death, which had occurred more than 3,300 years ago, more than 33 years ago. You can see the children now, you can guess कि मतलब कितना वर्ल्ड की ये सबसे फेमस मम्मी जो थी, वो पहली बार वर्ल्ड दुनिया की सबसे पहली और सबसे फेमस मम्मी जो थी, वो पहली बार किसी मम्मी को सीटी स्कैनर के थ्रू जो है वो इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए लाया गया था, ताकि उसके लाइफ के जो फैक्ट्स है उसको रिवील किया जा सके, उसको बताया जा सके, और उसके डेथ से जो रिलेटेड मिस्ट्री है, उससे डेथ से जो रिलेटेड उसकी जो मिस्टीरियस फैक्ट्स थे, उसको भी जो है वो दुनिया के सामने जो है वो लाए जा सके। और जो कि उसकी डेथ कब हो गई थी, 33 years ago, more than 3300 years ago, मतलब 3300 से ज़्यादा साल पहले जो है वो इजिप्शियन दिस ताटुट खामन was died, and it was very strange and it was very amazing to know about the mystery of his death। और एक इनकी जो डेथ की जो मिस्ट्री थी वो जो है वो एक बहुत ही अमेजिंग सी चीज़ थी, और बहुत ही कह सकते हैं ना बच्चों की ये एक जानने वाली चीज़ थी। दैट इज़ वाई द हार्वर्ड कार्टर एंड अलॉन्ग विद अदर द साइंटिफिक टीम they started investigating this mystery related to the Tutankhamun's life and death. So children, we will stop here. In today's lecture we will stop here, and in next lecture we will continue this chapter, and we will continue the explanation or interpretation of the paragraph once again in next lecture also. So in next lecture we will continue this explanation of the paragraph of the chapter, that is the Discovering Tut The Saga Continues, written by A.R. Williams. So children, always be happy and have a good and beautiful smile on your face, and think positive, and be healthy, be safe at home, and always smile, always have a wonderful smile on your pretty faces. So children, we will stop here, and in next lecture we will continue. So take care of yourself and your family.